And welcome back to Hannity. Now, the Iowa caucuses are only 7 days away. The 2016 presidential candidates are making their final pitches to voters. Here now to lay out his closing arguments and strategy to win the GOP nomination. 2016 Republican presidential candidate, the Kentucky Senator, Rand Paul. How are you?
Very good. Thanks for having me, Sean.
You know, I was talking about this earlier. When you look back historically, 2004, they were 15 points off in the polls. 2008, they were off. 2012, they were off. This is a case you've been making that we're relying too much on polls. In your home state, in the race for governor, they were off by a whole lot.
I think we're going to be surprised that the race is going to be a lot closer and that the race will be still quite open, even after the Iowa primary and after New Hampshire. We think ours are underestimated, our numbers are underestimated, because a lot of our support comes from young people. You know, I've been a lead spokesman saying the government shouldn't collect all of our phone records. I don't want the government collecting my phone records. I don't want them collecting my credit card statements. And a lot of young people agree with us. We're really strong on the college campuses. In fact, we'll make our closing argument as we travel around on college campuses.
And there's a history of Paul's outperforming the polls. Your dad outperformed by a big margin.
Yep, and actually the current polls are undershowing his previous support as well. So we think some kind of phenomenon is going on that we're not finding the Liberty voters well. But we think we're going to definitely outperform what the polls are showing.
When you say Liberty voters, that's sort of like your delineation as you're the more conservative libertarian in the race. And you don't reject that label, right?
Not at all, because I think there are several areas where I represent something that is unique and distinctive. One, on government collecting your records. Two, on government putting you in jail for minor things like marijuana. And three, on whether or not the intervention in the Middle East has helped us or made things less safe.
Look, I agree with you on 1 and 2. I disagree a little bit on 3. But you forgot a couple other things. You're also for the penny plan. You want a balanced budget. You, too, want to secure the border. Border's a mess. But on the issue, look, if we're going to fight a war again in this country, we're going to speak to them. If we're not going to win the war, I don't want to send anybody anymore. Right. If wars are now going to be politicized like Vietnam and Iraq, I don't want any more war.
But this is the point I've been making. The Constitution says that Congress declares war. Congress is supposed to vote on war. We've been involved in the Middle East for a year and a half, and everybody says, oh, we voted on it on 9/11, 2001. It's like,
well, Bush got the authorization for the use of force.
Yes, but for a different war. This is a new war and a new generation, and we need to vote. Congress absolutely needs to vote. But I am a Reagan conservative in the sense that I do believe when you go to war, you don't go halfway. So even the people in our party wanting to put troops on the ground, the McCains and the Grahams, they want to put 10,000 troops on the ground. That's a ridiculously small amount if you're going to war. The thing is that when we had the surge, when we took over those same areas, we had 130,000 and we added 50,000. So what I'm saying is either you make the commitment that you're going to put a couple 100,000 people on the ground, or you say, you know what, we're going to amplify those who live here, who live there, and the people there who are going to have to fight that battle.
If this is the year of the insurgent, in as much as all the polls show that it is, didn't Washington Republicans, aren't they responsible for creating that? Because I see them wringing their hands and they're trying to figure it out and they don't understand it. I'm like, it's not that complicated to figure out. You made promises, you broke them. You didn't fight. You contributed $4.1 trillion to the debt, John Boehner.
The biggest complaint I get from grassroots Republicans across the country is, look, we gave you Congress, we gave you the House, we gave you the Senate, but you're not using the power of the purse. But that's why I've stood up and said, I'm not voting to raise the debt ceiling unless we reform government. But here's the thing that's not known by most people. The loudest voices in Washington for increasing spending are actually those wanting to increase the military budget. And they make a deal with the left, and they increase the welfare budget, and you get both.
How are you doing with Mitch McConnell, because you didn't support this latest budget deal?
You know, I've been opposed to most of the things that have come out of Washington from leadership,
and
I haven't been shy about it.
Isn't he part of the problem, in fairness? Mitch, I mean, he's from your home state. You supported him. How big a part of the problem is he?
Well, I have not been shy about standing up to leadership on any issue, and will continue to do so. I stood for 10 hours on the NSA. That was against Republican leadership. I stood for 13 hours saying that you shouldn't drone Americans, against Republican leadership. I also stood against the debt ceiling raise, the unlimited amount of debt ceiling raise, against leadership. So I'm not afraid to do it. I just do it a little bit differently than that. I don't make it personal. I don't make it about the individuals. I'm trying to make it about what's right and wrong, what's for the Constitution and what's not.
If you did, it might get you more press.
Oh, I do fine.
All right, Senator, good to see you. Thank you so much. We'll see you on the trail in Iowa, too.
All right,
okay, appreciate it.